Yeah, good afternoon. Welcome to the session. Today we are going to discuss on the topic thyristors from power electronics. So, in this, what is the importance of the power electronics and what is the importance of the thyristors in this power converters and power inverters or rectifiers? So, we will discuss about this thyristor concept in this session. So what is meant by XRT thyristor? Thyristor I can call it as a silicon controlled rectifier also. So it's a very important a member of the thyristor family. So we have a number of thyristor family of switches. So among the thyristor family switches, we have a special one like silicon controlled rectifier, and which is used mostly in the power conversion devices and circuits. And the thyristors are one of the most important types of power semiconductor devices. So what is the importance of these thyristors? Generally thyristors is operating for high power applications in power converters, and thyristor can be assumed as ideal switches for many applications. So if you assume this as an ideal switch in the various applications, so it acts as a lossless switches like 100% efficiency from this SCR switch. So the thyristor will turn off when the current is brought to zero. So generally, what is the basic reason behind to turn off these thyristors? Means whenever the thyristor gets zero current or reverse current to the terminal, then it will be turned off. So then what is other way of doing that? Gate turn off thyristor is one of the other option to for design to have controlled turn on and turn off capability. The thing is when we talk about diode configuration, so in the diode configuration there is no controlled output. So it's a unidirectional switch even though, but there is no controlled output. That means so that can be avoided by using the thyristors. So with this configuration of thyristors, we can control the voltage and we can get the controlled output voltage from this device. So the thyristor have lower on-state conduction losses and higher power handling capacity compared to the transistors. So all the electronic devices like power semiconductor device acts as switches, but there are specific variations in the operation and working. So that's why we have again going towards these SCR characteristics and that SCR function. So the most important thing is lower on-state conduction losses. This is the very important in power converters to avoid the switching losses and on-state losses. And which is having another important term is called higher power handling capacity. This is one of the important role of thyristors when compared to the transistor and other switching devices. So however, transistor have higher switching speeds and lower switching losses. So there are some part of the advantages are there in the transistors also, which is having a high switching speed when compared to the thyristors. So both are having different advantages and drawbacks. So we'll move on to the next one. So thyristor, when come to the construction point of view, the thyristor having a 4-layer semiconductor device of a PN structure with 3 PN junctions. So if you see, this is the symbol of thyristor, anode and cathode. So the gate terminal is given. So there are 3 terminals for this device: anode, cathode and gate. And when come to the structure point of view, there are PN structure of the SCR, which is having 4 layers, PN 4 layers, and forming 3 junctions, J1, J2 and J3. And the second layer, third layer of P layer is connected to the gate terminals. And what is the importance of the structure? So the structure again indicates the importance or what is the variations in the junctions. Like first P1 is highly doped layer and N1 is the lightly doped layer. So similarly the P2 of second third layer will give the highly doped layer, and here the N2 is again highly doped layer. This middle one is the moderately doped layer because it is connected to the gate terminals. And there are formation of three junctions J1, J2 and J3 in this configuration of ACR. So the three terminals of ACR named as anode, cathode and gate. A positive pulse of the short duration is required to the gate to kick start the conduction. So initially it is in forward bias. Let us consider ACR is in forward bias. That means the supply is given between the anode and cathode. That is, anode is positive with respect to the cathode. So there is no conduction still until unless the gate signal is given to the thyristor. So that means a gate signal must and should require to turn off the thyristor into the conduction state. So this working and operation will be explained in three modes for ACR or thyristors. So those are called forward blocking state, reverse blocking state, So this thyristor concept can be explained in three modes of operation, like forward blocking state, reverse blocking state and a forward conduction state. So what happening in the forward blocking state? So generally when we talk about thyristor configuration, which is having four layers. So PN, these are the layers, and J1, J2 and J3 are the junctions, and the moderate layer is connected to the gate terminal. So in the forward blocking state, what happening is, so whenever anode is connected positive with respect to the cathode, the junction J1 and J3 will be in forward bias and junction J2 is in reverse bias. That means there is a barrier between the J1 and J2. So there is no current flow from anode to cathode in the forward conduction state. So if you keep on increasing the forward voltage between the anode and cathode, there will be a breakdown called VBO. That is called breakover voltage. So VBO is nothing but breakover voltage. At this point, the junction J2 will be breakdown. That is called, you can say, average breakdown. So until unless whenever we apply more voltage between the anode and cathode, then junction will be breakdown. So the current flow will be happen from anode to cathode. So this is nothing but forward blocking state. But this is not a feasible method to operate the thyristors by having the more forward voltage. And when come to the reverse blocking state, of ACR. So by the time what happened, the junction J2 is in, just a minute. So in the reverse blocking state of the ACR, when the cathode voltage is positive with respect to the anode voltage, the junction J1 and J3 are in reverse bias, and the only junction J2 is in forward bias. So that means there are two barriers to restrict the flow of current between the junctions. So J1 and J3 is in reverse bias, so that's why there is no flow of current between the anode and cathode. So these two will be having the barriers in the configuration of the ACR. So we cannot get any current flow between the cathode and anode. So this is the reverse blocking state. But small amount of leakage current will flow through the junctions, that is reverse leakage current flows. We can call it as reverse current IR. So in this state we can call it as a two series connected diodes being reverse biased. The SCR configuration in this case seems like a two series connection diodes connected in reverse bias. So a thyristor can be turned on by increasing the forward voltage behind the VPO, but such a turn on can be destroy the thyristor. So the drawback is with this reverse blocking operation, if we keep on increasing the voltage levels to turn on the thyristors, that will block the destroy the thyristors. So that's why it is also not feasible to operate the SCR. So in practice, the forward voltage is maintained below VPO and the thyristor is turned on by applying positive voltage between gate and cathode. So this is the in case of reverse blocking state. So next conduction mode is nothing but forward conduction mode. What is happening in the forward conduction mode? So for this what happen? So similar here again we have to apply the forward voltage. So this is the anode and cathode terminals, positive and negative. This is the gate terminal. So now the forward voltage applied between the anode and cathode. So anode is positive with respect to the cathode. Let us take V2, and a voltage is given between the anode gate terminal and cathode. So this let us take V1. So in order to get into the forward blocking state to forward conduction state of the SCR, so we have to apply the forward voltage between the anode and cathode. At the same time we have to vary the gate terminal voltage, that is current need to be inject to the layer, moderate layer P. So therefore because of this gate current, the junction J2 will be breakdown at some particular point, then current starts flowing from anode to cathode in this period. That means initially the SCR is in forward blocking state, then we are trying to bring the forward blocking state into forward conduction state by applying the gate terminal voltage. That means we are changing the value of IC, that is gate current. So we are not applying any huge current at a time, we are just varying the gate current by applying the gate voltage. Then we will get the forward blocking state into forward conduction state. So what is the junction position at this time? So J1 and J2 are in forward bias and J2 is in reverse bias initially, but because of this gate current applied between these junctions, the J2 will be breakdown at particular voltage, forward voltage, that is VPO, then it will be converted into forward conduction state. So in this on state, the current is limited by the external impedance. So that means the gate current is also limited with the external impedance value, and the current must be greater than the latching current in order of the device to conduct. Otherwise, the device will go into the blocking mode as the anode cathode voltage is reduced. So we have to maintain the on state of this switch by holding the minimum current required to keep on state. If below which the current is dropped, they will be getting into turned off. So this is the condition in this forward conduction state of the switch. Okay. So that is what the discussion is like. Alternatively, the SCR can be put into the forward conduction made by applying the gate, that will increase the anode current above the latching current. So there are two terms called latching current and holding current. In this characteristics we will discuss that. And high higher gate current can put SCR faster in the forward conduction mode as in the graph. So generally what happening here, as we represent in the system, so this is indicates that the variation in the gate to cathode voltage, then we will get the different values of gate currents by changing the voltage values of gate to cathode value. So then we will change the speed of the thyristor into the blocking state to conduction state by applying the gate current between the anode, gate and cathode. So the SCR will be remain in the forward conduction mode if the anode current is above the holding current. So that means, so in order to keep the thyristors into on state like forward conduction state, so the holding point is there, that means nothing but the minimum current value above which the thyristor will be in the on state. So once a thyristor is turned on by gating signal, the device continues even if the gate signal is removed. So in this case, what happening, at particular value of the gate current, the thyristor will be turned on. So after that, even though there is a removal of gate signal, and it will be still into the on state condition. That is the beauty of SCR. So therefore, a thyristor is also a latching device. So here we can see the circuit diagram for thyristor to operate. So here you can see. So this is a symbol for thyristor, like which is having anode, cathode, and gate terminals. And this is a circuit to operate the thyristor concept, like anode positive and cathode negative. And there are two power sources. One is for E is nothing but voltage applied between the anode and cathode with some external impedance to control the current flowing from source to anode to cathode. And another source is nothing but ES, which is connected between the gate and cathode, and this which is connected between the gate and power source, which is turn on and turn off the to give a input to the gate, and we can by closing, or we can open by removing the switch. So this is the circuit diagram. So initially we apply this voltage from E, then it will start flowing through the anode, and when it is conduction state, it will not conduct from anode to cathode. So once the gate signal is given by wearing the ES, then it will flow and breaks the junction J2. Then what happens? There is a flow of current from anode to cathode in this condition. That means we are making the forward blockings to forward conduction state of the SCR. Forward blockings to forward conduction state of the SCR. So this is the circuit diagram required to operate the SCR to get into forward blocking to forward conduction state. And we can observe the characteristics of IV for SCR. This is anode current we can represent, and this is the anode voltage. So here we can observe during the forward blocking state, like this. So anode to cathode there is a forward voltage, but the thyristor is in off state. But still there is a small current flowing through the junctions, that is called the forward leakage current due to the minor charge carriers. So that we can call it as a forward leakage current. So if you apply the voltage behind the VPO, that is breakover voltage, thyristor get into the on state. But this is not a feasible method to apply the over voltage between the anode and cathode. And during the reverse blocking state, this is the reverse blocking state of the SCR. Here also the junction J1 and J3 are in reverse bias. Only junction J2 is in forward bias. Therefore, there is no current flow between the anode and cathode, or cathode and anode. So the only reverse leakage current flows between these terminals with the minor charge carriers, that we can call it as a reverse leakage current of the thyristors. So from this modes of operation, so we are making into on state by changing the gate currents IG1, IG2, IG3. That means we are varying the voltage ES to apply the current IG to the gate and cathode. Then our thyristor SCR get into conduction mode from the blocking mode. So this sharp increase of the current can be taken as a forward conduction state of the ACR. So here we can have the two terminals like terminologies like latching current and holding current. These are the two minimum currents. So holding current is the minimum anode current to hold the thyristor into on state, below which the thyristor get into turn off. And latching current is the minimum anode current where the thyristor is into on state, and even though there is a removal of gate signal. So these two are the conditions in this operation of the ACR. So the same concept can be explained by using two transistor model of thyristors. So that means a bisection of two transistors, like one. So in this, if you observe this one, there are two transistors, PNP transistor and NPN transistors. So anode is connected to the T1. Let us consider this as a let us Q1 or Q2 two switches. So anode is connected to the Q1 of the P layer and cathode is connected to the Q2 of the N layer, bottom layer, and the gate is connected between the common P layers. If you take the bisection of this structure, you will get the two transistors in this case. And this one is nothing but a similar kind of SCR concept to explain the operation. So here you can see that Q1 and Q2 are connected back to back, and in this case this is the positive anode and cathode is negative and gate is connected. Initially voltage is applied between the anode and cathode. Voltage applied between the anode and cathode, and there is no conduction. So once the gate signal is given between the anode gate and cathode, so it will start conducting. So that means the IP1 current is nothing but is equal to IC2, that is collector 2 current is nothing but the base of the Q1 transistors. That means, and the collector IC1 current is given to the IP2 is activated by taking the gate current and IC1. So this is the structure to analyze the thyristor concept by taking the Q1 and Q2 back to back connection, and here one is positive and another one is negative in the operation. So the collector current IC of the thyristor is released to the emitter current IE, and the leakage current of the collector base junction is ICBO. This is the transistor concept, and where the common current is explained by using this equation. IC is equal to alpha into IE plus ICBO. This is emitter current and leakage current from a collector to base junctions. So therefore alpha can be current gain can be explained by taking the IC by IE. So therefore collector current IC1 is equal to alpha 1 into IA plus ICBO1. Similarly we can take from the both Q1 and Q2 transistors collector currents IC1 and IC2. So by combining these Q1 and Q2 collector currents, so we can get the concept of SCR anode current. So that is nothing but anode current of the device by taking the combination of this collector current IC1 and IC2. So that equation is, so we are combining the equations IC1 and IC2. So this is the cathode current we are trying to get from this anode and gate currents. So in this two transistor analogy, so there are two important things like cathode current, that is cathode current, anode current. So getting from the different parameters like IC1 and IC2. So anode current is getting from IC1 and IC2 of Q1 and Q2, and gate current is from the other source. Therefore, we can get the cathode current of this. So from these equations, we can analyze the total anode current of the two transistor analogy, and which is simply nothing but the anode current of the ACR. So the alpha values, that the current gain will maybe varies with the emitter current and the variation as shown in figure. So as the emitter current increases, your alpha value is also going to be changes with respect to the IC value. So this is the changes in the alpha and alpha values of 1 and 2, that is transistor current gain 1 and 2 can be changed with respect to the emitter current. So therefore the thyristor will get into the turn on position. So this is the diagram indicates that the transient conditions of the two transistor analogy. That means during the transient condition, the capacitance formation can be analyzed between the terminals as shown in the figure. So this will indicate the transition period of our SCR functioning, and which is influences the characteristics of the thyristors. So during the transient conditions, the actual characteristics may be varies with this formation of junction capacitances J1, J2, J3. So this will be analyzed. So if a thyristor is in a blocking state, a rapidly rising voltage is applied across the device would cause high current flow through the junction capacitances. So this is the reason. So if the dB by dt is very large, junction J2 would be large, and this would result in the increased leakage current ICPO1 and ICPO2. So even though there is no gate signal applied to this, because of the junction formation of CJ1, CJ2, CJ3, there will be a huge current flow because of the leakage currents. So the high value of the leakage currents may cause alpha 1, alpha 2 to approach unity, and the thyristor device gets turned on. So that means what happening once the junction formation happened between the junction J1, J2, J3, because of the capacitance formation during the transient condition, there is a huge increase in the current. So that current leads to turn on the thyristors. So this is and this large current through the junction capacitor may damage the device. So this is nothing but a forward blocking state of condition. So even though there is no gate signal applied, then because of this junction leakage current formation, it will change the blocking state to conduction state. Sometimes it may damage the device. So what are the turn on methods of the thyristors? So there are we have a number of methods to turn on without gate. So that is, a thyristor is turned on by increasing the anode currents. That means by applying the forward voltage between the anode to cathode, then we can turn on the thyristors. And this is accomplished in one of the following ways. So that is the anode forward voltage can be, forward current can be increased by any kind. Like if the temperature of the thyristor is high, there will be an increase in the number of electron hole pairs. That means because of the temperature, there is a bombardment of electrons and hole pairs at the junctions, that will create some kind of currents between the junctions. So this will increase the alpha 1 and alpha 2, and the thyristor may be turned on. That means the current gains from Q1 and Q2 switches can be changes because of this hole pair, the temperature increase between the junctions. So this is one of the turn on methods by changing the temperature behind the values. So one more method is to inject the light. So if the light is allowed to strike the junction, the electro hole pairs will increase and the thyristor may be turned on, because when the light is fall on the structure like junctions, then the electron hole pairs are increased, then therefore thyristor maybe gets into turn on. So the light activated thyristor, let us take this as a light activated thyristor, are turned on by allowing the light to strike the silicon wafer. So this is nothing but that's why we can call it as a SCR in this condition LASCR, that means light activated silicon controlled rectifier. So another method is to take the high voltage. So by applying anode to cathode, forward voltage more than the breakable voltage. That is, if the forward anode to cathode voltage is greater than the VPO, then thyristor will get into turn on. So this is one of the regular method to turn on the SCR. So next one is to change the dV by dt. So this is a change in voltage with respect to time is nothing but a dV by dt. So if the rate of rise of the anode to cathode voltage is high, so because of some reasons, if there is any change in voltage with respect to time, so the charging current of the capacitive junction will turn on the thyristor. That means there is a capacitance formation at the junction J1, J2, J3. That is CJ1, CJ2, CJ3. That will influence the junctions to give a currents flow between the anode to cathode. This is the because of change in voltage with respect to time. That is rate of rise of voltage anode to cathode. So this is one of the method to turn on the SCR. So another one is the best way to turn on the SCR is nothing but gate current. So this is the best way we can adopt into our SCR turn on methods like gate current. So if a thyristor is forward biased, so the injection of the gate current between at the gate signal by applying a positive gate voltage between the gate and the cathode terminal should turn on the thyristor. So this is the way of doing anode to cathode forward voltage by applying at the same time by applying the gate current. So this is the very best way to protect the device from the any other damages. So this figure indicates that is nothing but a characteristics, like this period is nothing but a forward blocking state, so only leakage current will flow, and this region indicates that forward conduction state only, like it's a forward sharp increase of IA, current will be available. This is the reverse blocking state. So forward blocking state, reverse blocking state, and forward conduction state. So here what happening? So there is a change in voltage with respect to that gate currents V1, V2, V3. That means we are changing the gate voltage, gate to cathode voltage. Then we will get the Ig1, Ig2, Ig3. That means current is changing from minimum to maximum. So at this point there is a holding current and latching current. So if this reaches the current reaches the IA current reaches to IL, then it will get into the on state, and this point is the minimum anode current point below which the thyristor gets into turn off conditions. So this is how we are going to operate the SCR operation. So the following points should be considered in designing the gate control circuits. Like the gate signal should be removed after the thyristor is turned on. A continuous gate signal would increase the power loss in the gate junction. So once the gate thyristor is turned on by giving the gate pulse, then at the next minute the gates should be removed. Otherwise there is a gate to cathode, like junction losses will be more. So in order to avoid that, the next minute once the thyristor is turned on, then gate will be removed. So while the thyristor is reverse biased, there would be no gate signal, otherwise the thyristor may fail due to an increased leakage current. So there is another problem with this thyristor in the reverse bias because of leakage currents. So the width of the gate pulse must be longer than the time required for the anode current. This is the condition to operate the thyristors. That means Ig value, the pulse of the gate pulse, the width of the gate pulse must be greater, longer than the time required for the anode current to rise the holding current. So this must be noted. So the pulse width must be very high than the anode current, time required to reach the anode current. That is from 0 to holding current IH. So in practice, the pulse width is made more than the turn on time of the thyristors. So generally the gate pulse is higher than the turn on of the thyristor. Time required for the turn on of the thyristors. So here we can see the gate current with the 0 to 90% of its value. That means it requires a time required to reach the 90% of its final value. So this is the one condition. So by the time what is happening here? So anode current reaches to its 0 to 10% of its final value. That condition is called a delay time in this case. And whenever this is the 10% of the final value. So from 10% to 90% of the final value can be taken as rise time of the our switching devices. So totally the turn on time of the device can be taken as delay time plus rise time in this case. So at the same time, what happening in the voltage? So being that, so anode voltage is going to be dropped to 10% of maximum to the 90% of, that means final value to the 90% of its final value reaches, that is delay time. So from 90% to 10% of its initial value, then it is a voltage dropping to 90% to the 10%, then it is a rise time during this condition. So the total TR can be taken as delay time plus rise time. So the pulse width must be higher than this time, total time. So what are the turn off methods we have in this subject? The thyristor switch is in the on state can be turned off by reducing the forward current to a level below the holding currents. Yeah, there are 2 points: latching currents and holding currents. Holding current is nothing but a minimum anode current below which the thyristor gets into turned off. So that have to maintain. Otherwise, the thyristor gets into turn off mode. So in a line commutation converter circuit where the input voltage is alternating, a reverse voltage appears across the thyristor immediately after the forward current goes through the zero value. So in the AC signal, when we observe, there is for every 180 degrees there is a zero condition. So there is no need to give a reverse voltage to the thyristor, or there is no need to give a zero voltage to the thyristor to turn off. In the line commutation, what happened? So because of this nature's input signal nature, so every time we are going to get the zero current at these intervals, so automatically the thyristor get into turn off. So there are 2 methods basically for turn off of the thyristor, that is line commutation and forced commutation. This indicates that line commutated thyristor method to turn off. So in this case, what happening? So this is the controlled voltage, 0 to alpha is the controlled voltage. After this, there is a conduction of the thyristor. Then after reaching this 0 point, the voltage between the anode to cathode will be getting to 0. Then after this point, there is a reverse voltage between the anode and cathode. So that reverse voltage, that means this point indicates that your reverse voltage. So that reverse voltage will bring the thyristor into off state. So every time in this signal nature, every time we are going to get the zero condition or reverse voltage. Therefore, so no need of any external gate turn off thyristor circuits required for this in this case of line commutated circuits. So that means initially when the thyristor is in on state current flow like this, but when the negative off cycle reaches the reverse voltage applied to the cathode terminal, then it will oppose that because it is a unidirectional switch, so it will oppose the flow of current from cathode to anode. So therefore, it will be gets turned off. So here TRR indicates that reverse recovery time, and IR is nothing but reverse recovery current. So after this getting turned off of thyristor, there is again a leakage current because of the blocking state of the thyristor, reverse blocking state of the thyristor. So this is one more another method of getting turn off of thyristor, that is the turn off time TQ is the minimum value of the time interval between the instant when the on state current has decreased to 0 and the instant when the thyristor is capable of withstanding forward voltage without turning on. So that means initially the thyristor get into turn on by giving a gate signal. So in this circuit, this indicates that force commutator circuit. So when forward voltage given between the anode and cathode, so this is the additional auxiliary components are required to turn off the thyristor, because initially thyristor is in on state by applying forward voltage between anode and cathode. At the same time gate signal is given, therefore it is in forward conduction state. So because of non-alternative nature of the input voltage, that is this is the constant voltage given to the circuit, so therefore there is no zero crossing at the intervals. So as in the previous case, there is a zero condition for every 180 degrees, but it is not possible in the DC supply. So during this condition, we are not going to get any zero reverse voltage to the thyristor. Therefore, there must be an auxiliary circuit required to turn off the thyristor by placing the capacitor and inductor in these conditions. So here you can see the DC input voltage, that this is the thyristor current. Initially it is an on state. So initially it is on state, that is then it is going to be negative when the reverse voltage is applied with this so initially when T1 is on condition, T2 is off condition. Whenever it is required to turn off the thyristor, T2 will be turned on. So therefore the reverse current will flow through this from the T2 to T1. Therefore the thyristor T1 will be turned off. But this requires the maximum auxiliary components to turn off the method. So for DC, in case of DC, we used to prepare this kind of circuits forcibly to turn off the ACR. So this is about today's session on ACR fundamentals and their working. Thank you.